Okay, so I just want to make sure that everybody's aware, guys. If you want to watch this content, I'm about to end this broadcast on every channel other than the two that I'm getting ready to stream it to. So if you haven't done this before, if you haven't watched the content in a while, there are two channels on YouTube that I'm going to be streaming this to. All of the other channels I'm about to end the broadcast. So in the description section below, if you're watching on YouTube, or in the script for the video broadcast above on Facebook, if you're on Facebook, those are the two sections you need to find the link. And you got to follow the two channels on YouTube if you want to get this type of content. Because remember, I'm transitioning some of this stuff. So like I said, if you're watching on any other channel than these two, the My DeFi Guru is for crypto, precious metals, investments, income opportunities, and Heaven's News broadcast is about prophetic updates. And so these are the two things actually that I'm going to be talking about combined on this broadcast. So therefore, I'm going to be streaming to only these two channels. You must subscribe to these channels if you want to see this content in the coming days, because we're going to be making this transition permanent. However, I'm doing this for a short period to make sure that those who have been following our content on the other channels are able to make the transition. So here we go. I'm going to begin removing these. Right now. So give me just 2 seconds here. And you're going to be seeing this broadcast terminate. Oh, wow. We just lost about 30 people. So there was a lot of people watching on that one channel. And that's why I'm doing this, guys. So you got to make sure that you're catching and following the right channel. Okay. So here we go. We're on the two channels now. And so here's what I want to talk about. A couple of things, guys. So the first thing is, let me check the comments, make sure that I give a shout out to those who survived, who are making the transition. So we've got Shawana Blessings, and then we've got Fat Fine Blessings. Come on in, guys. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I want to make sure I jump into the content pretty quickly. We do not have a lot of viewers, but that's the sacrifice that I have to make in order to get this stuff pumping. But we've got Adam from Canada. We've got Carl from Canada. You guys ever notice how that's happened before? We've got my nephew Grayson. What's going on? All right. So here we go, guys. I want to talk about some of these things, kind of give you guys the update. I'm not quite sure if you know, but Brandon Biggs is now prophesying about President Trump's heart, which is what Charlie Shamp prophesied a few months ago that I had shared as well at that time. Blessings, Michael from Seattle, Washington. Now, guys, the reason I say this stuff to you is because I want you to understand, number one, how prophecy works. Because, like I said, Charlie Shamp got that word, that prophetic insight a couple months ago. I shared that. Now, another prophetic voice, Brandon Biggs, is getting that insight as well. Do you guys remember my dream that I shared with you? There was coming a mass beef recall. So I have a kind of a sneaky suspicion. It's not necessarily prophetic, but I do wonder if this whole screwworm infection, or parasite, I should say, is going to be trying to, because you remember this was basically an issue. I think it was like in the 70s. I don't know, a while ago. So blessings, Affinity Craig from Las Barridas, Mexico. Blessings. So, Greg, that is. Why do you have your name titled Affinity Craig if your name's Greg? So confused. However, I'm sure you have an explanation for that. All right, so let me kind of share also a quick summary of what I think is going to happen with XRP and XLM. Ian's blessing, tree service blessings to you guys. Come on in. Let me know where you're tuning in from. So I'm looking also to have a powerful prophet of God joining me on Saturday. Wow. And if I told you guys what's happening behind the scenes, it's just God is doing some very, very big things, very big things. Do you remember the dream that I had? Do you remember the dream that I had where I was in the kind of like heaven's Grand Central Station? It's the only way I can describe it. This kind of like corridor where it was almost like a fancy hotel, and people were like in line to check in. This happened twice. The first one, I was in line to check in. I saw my buddy on TV doing supernatural miracles, and I gave him that word that God was getting ready to use him in extraordinary miracles. Then the next dream, I was in the same place, but this time I actually checked in. But that's when I got the vehicle that was beginning to show me heaven's, insights pertaining to XRP, the crash specifically. Well, that's right. In that second dream, when I actually checked in, if you remember me sharing the details of that dream, I got to go back and write down those details. I was walking in before I went to go check in and got that upgraded vehicle, but I was like, people were looking at me like I was some sort of big shot. And I told you guys that prophetically what that represents is that God was obviously, getting ready to release his favor upon my life. Now, that can look like a few different things, upgrade, promotion, what have you, but he's doing it. He's doing it. There are some things that God is doing that is just absolutely extraordinary. And I would say it would blow your mind, but it's going to blow your mind because it's going to happen. However, I want to share with you guys this update pertaining to XRP and XLM because we are in September. I had a prophet of God. In fact, the prophet I'm going to be having on Saturday, he was the one that prophesied that September was a strategic month for me, a strategic month for me. We're in the month of September. And I believe that we are in the month where the things that we've been waiting on are going to happen. I'm not talking about the XRP, XLM moment we've all been waiting for, where it takes off and, our bags just begin to soar. What I'm believing is going to happen is I think it will go up first. And then I think we're going to see the crash. Please understand. And this is why I had said, guys, last year that this is the season where we need to follow the prophets and not the professionals. There's a channel that I was just introduced to, and I shared a little clip of it the other day. of the gentleman sharing his brother's dream of XRP going to $5. And I subscribed to his channel when I was introduced to that video. However, I was very disappointed. Well, not disappointed, because he said he made a huge withdrawal. He made a huge withdrawal. And he says, I'm seeing too much bearish indicators on the charts, guys. And I'm sorry, but I think we're going to go backwards. And here's the belief system. We are going to go backwards. That's what the dream that I got about the coming crash was, that I've been sharing since April, May. That month changeover, the cusp, the last day of April, the first day of May. That was when I had those two dreams. And so, but I still believe we're going to see a minor upward trend beforehand. Just like, remember, before God showed me the crash dreams, I saw the 504 XRP. Remember, I saw 326, 325. I can't remember. That's already come to pass. Then I saw 398, 394. Then I think those were the two numbers. Then I saw 504. And then 10 days before I saw the crash, I saw this bull run take place. Now, we have actually seen a bull run since then. Because remember, it was like 219 back then on XRP. But remember the dream that he gave me on the last day of April. He showed me that 240 would turn into 140. Just like that. That's what I saw. That 240 would turn into 140. And that's why I had cashed out back then. And, you know, because we were at like 220. And I was like, I don't need to wait for 240. I'm going to go ahead and play it safe right now. But I had forgotten about my previous dreams about it going to, and you guys got to understand, this is actually new to me. God started giving me dreams in the Forex market the beginning of last year. And we were playing in the Forex market, me and some friends, and we were using bots. You know, I was sharing a couple of bots from a guy that we were buying them from, and we were using them as well. And then we had a manual trader on our team. When I say team, I'm talking about a couple of our friends and of people that were basically, you know, working together. And what was interesting is that when God started giving me these dreams, we had this little private chat. There was actually a few people on our ministry team. And so I was sharing with them, and they were kind of familiar with it. But then there was these other people that were not even really like believers. And they were in there too. I think there was like 7 of us. And then the trader, and I was sharing with them what was about to happen. But back then, there was no like 6-month waiting period like we're seeing now. You know what I mean? Like, it's only been 4 months, you know, since May, because it was the beginning of May. So it's only been 4 months. So, but there was no 4-month waiting period. There wasn't a 3-month waiting period. In fact, everything was happening the very next day or that day. Like I would have a dream, I wake up and it would happen that day. but I would tell them first. And they were like, like really enamored by this. So was I. And so, however, guys, if you have not subscribed to this channel, you need to. If you have not subscribed to the other channel, you need to. There's two channels that I'm sharing right now. My DeFi Guru for precious metals, crypto, income opportunities, investments, all sorts of different things pertaining to money. Then Heaven's News broadcast, which has to do with prophetic updates. And because a lot of this is synergistic right now, I'm actually streaming to both of them right now. However, if you don't want to miss what's coming, check both out and then take your pick what you want to watch from there, but at least you won't miss anything. Okay? Both of these channels. Now, a couple things that I want to share with you that I actually put into, if you guys remember, okay? Now, I'm going to touch on the XRP thing in a minute because I got to finish this. But this place where I have a lifetime membership, and they're based out of my city. They're here. And they sell gold and silver cheaper than any place you will ever find it, guys. And I'm telling you, when I was doing crypto stuff a couple of years ago, I had all of these major players, high rollers that were making moolah in crypto. And of course, they were diversifying into other things, precious metals. And, so they had all the contacts for where to buy gold and silver and different things. And I had every single one of them tell me, you got to check this out. Best prices, man. I heard you talking about, you got to check this out. So I checked it out. I had to keep checking to make sure that I had the best of the best. Nobody could beat our prices, guys. Nobody. So then they had this new company come out. It was called At Cost Metals. And they were like, I promise you, you can't touch us. And one of my buddies, he's like, let me get the number one guy on the phone. The number one guy. I said, fine. I've already been through this though with this company. He said, all right, but I'm telling you, I promise you, you can't beat us. He got him on the phone and he's like, all right, let's share websites. And I said, yeah. He's like, you're the first person that's actually been able to beat us in prices. I said, I'm telling you, man. He quickly got off the phone. And so here's the thing. Watch this. The CEO has this crazy deal right now. And not everybody's going to be able to afford it. But watch this. This month, the collector's pick, which is a coin that the CEO collector's pick. The CEO picks his own personal coin that he's going to buy for the month. And he allows 50 people to come in and to sign up on this monthly subscription where he guarantees that you're going to make more on the value of the coin the moment you buy it. And this month's is almost 33% more than what you're paying for it. And immediately, the moment you buy it, you've already profited. And it includes the VIP membership, which is about $30 a month. So if you stay on this, if you obviously you can cancel and just get 1 month or whatever. But if you stay on the subscription, you're guaranteed to profit every month. And he says on average about $50 profit. And I think it's like $297 a month. If anybody can do this, guys, listen. I just thought it was like, the coolest thing. So I wanted to share that with you because I don't, do coins personally because I'm not a big coin collector. And a lot of reason is because I don't really have the time to study all that stuff. However, I like the idea of this because I know from the CEO's expertise that I'm already making profit on it if I decide to go ahead and get it for that month, right? So I'm sharing that with you. It's in the description section below. The other thing, guys, is I made a course for free that teaches you how to create emails using AI. And what's really cool is that this will work for just about everything, but I show you how to make money with it. And I'm going to be adding more things into this because I'm super excited. I've told you guys my passion is to help people to learn how to leverage the power of tools and automation in this season where you can create systems that go to work for you guys. I want you to learn the power of this. You learning how, what does that mean to create systems that go to work for you? You build, you work behind a computer until you get something created. And then you literally send it out. You set it up and it rinses and repeats while you go spend time with your family, and it is continuing to go to work for you guys. The power of passive residual income. You want a side hustle? Done. You want to start an actual business that can set you free from where you're currently working? The potential is there. Okay? You got to start, and I'm building systems that is going to empower people to learn how to build systems. I'm super excited about this. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. And thank you, Lord. Seems the more you receive, the more testing you get compared to before. 100%. Yeah, there's new warfare for every level, that's for sure. However, oftentimes the warfare that you go through is for your next level. And so when you break through, my God. All right. Let me make sure I'm not missing something. I'm going to get back to what I was talking about. Learn how to create emails using AI. The VIP coin pick, instant profit, guys. Instant profit. I just love what he's doing. I think it's the coolest thing. Like, I don't know how he's doing it. And yeah, Michael, I heard about it. I don't have any, though. I've got so many things that I'm involved in right now, including, and guys, here's the thing. Oh, yeah. Also, my second book was released, guys, volume 2 of Spiritual Warfare. And I really encourage you. Volume 1 is like, it's an introduction to help you understand how much of your life is actually affected by present enemies in the spirit realm that you can take authority over when you learn how to wage war in Christ as a person of faith and in relationship with God. The volume 2 goes deeper. It's not necessarily for everyone like the first one is. The second one goes into more specifically for Christians, identifying false doctrines that actually steal from your faith walk. 100%. Because if you have wrong doctrine is so important. Revelation, truth is so important. Jesus says, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. And I talk about so many things that I've learned over the years that robs people because of bad doctrine. That being said, volume 3 that is coming out, I believe this week, is about how to minister deliverance. That is even deeper. That's even deeper. So not everybody's going to go for 1, 2, and 3. Most people will go for 1, 2, and then 3. So that being said, here's where I'm going to get back to the XRP guys, and I'm going to talk to you about what I believe we see coming. Now, be very careful. Be very careful. I want you to be very careful. We are in what I believe in. Not why is the month of September important? I'm going to tell you why. Because this is the month where we really have to begin putting on tunnel vision. Don't get caught up in the smoke screens. I shared last month, I believe. No, it was in July. I shared in July a course from another guru that shares his picks. People who got into that still get his picks through the end of the year. And I think you can, still leverage at various times a small portion. However, I want to encourage you, and please remember, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a person who dreams and hears voices. And so, take that for what it's worth, okay, for you. And so it is up to you to test everything that I say, everything that I believe I'm hearing from the Lord for yourself. And because that's why I named my DeFi guru, because I said, I am my DeFi guru, not your DeFi guru. That's the whole, point of the name. However, this is the month of September. Remember, the prophet prophesied over me and said, September is very strategic for you. Well, I believe that can also be for you as well. Very strategic. And so what I believe is going to happen is, remember this gentleman said that, he says that the market's looking very bearish. He says, I have some very concerns. I have some big concerns that we're getting ready to go down, and it's going to be a hard down. And he said, we've seen Bitcoin, go down 30 to 40%, 30 to 40% when these types of reversals occur. And so I'm curious. Let's take a look here. What is 111,000 times 40%? That's 44,400. So that means that it would go down to 66,000. Do you remember? And now that would be 40%. What would be 35%? Be 38,850. That would be $72,150. Do you remember my dream where I saw Bitcoin going down to $72,000? $72,000. Listen, come on. You can't make this stuff up, guys. You can't make this stuff up. That would be exactly 35%. And he said, I see this bearish divergence, or this bearish pattern happening on the charts. And he says, I withdrew. And guys, I'm telling you, here's the reality. Could it go from where it is right now? 100%. However, do I believe it's going to? I don't. But if it does, I hope that the Lord will give me some insight that things have changed. Now, he did give me the dream that everything is about to change. And so, Kelly, I have no idea what you're in. Okay. And so, here's the thing, guys. I believe we're going to see the price points. Remember you had, David Williams, Ryan Cunningham, at least those two, saw it going up. XLM 62 cents for Ryan, 80 cents for David. And then a person who sent me a dream said they saw it going to 85 cents. Somebody that I know saw it going to 82 cents. That's XLM, all in dreams or in visions. Very consistent. A warning, Ryan got at 67 cents. Did I say 67 cents that he said? I can't remember. I hope I did. And so, and then I had a dream where I saw it in the 60-some cent range. And so I'm expecting we're going to see that little pump. Here's the crazy part. I can't believe this dude yesterday, that in the video that I watched, the crazy part was he said, I think altcoin season is over. I'm like, oh, no, it hasn't even started yet. I honestly, this guy has like 100,000 subscribers. And, a lot of people follow him for his technical analysis, and I think that's great. However, I was shocked to hear the guys, I literally sat there thinking to myself, he's got to be pulling my leg. When is he going to pull out the freaking, we punked you card? You know what I mean? Like, just kidding. If you're watching this far, now you'll know that I was just getting off, all the people that, I don't know. I was waiting for something like that, right? And so it never happened. I don't think I watched the whole video. I don't know. Maybe it did happen. But the point is, there's no way we're out of the freaking. Let me pull up TradingView because I want to show you on the TradingView. Awesome. Thank you, Kevin. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, that book, listen, it really is fire. And I poured over 10 years of the revelations that God has given me in this ministry into it. Good. That's what I like to see. But yeah, and I don't know what he's talking about. That's what's so crazy to me, because now remember, I did see what in the world? I did see that my trader friend that I talked to, he is expecting Bitcoin to do, I can't remember that pattern that they call it, but it was like the zig, zag, zig, what was the name of it? Oh, I could actually look it up. You guys probably are going to tell me just as fast as I. Elliott wave theory. And so, so let me share this real quick. I think I'm signed in. Let me pull up the, and that's the thing. Ben's Build says that Bitcoin is still bullish on the daily and weekly chart, right? And that's exactly my point. When you're on the daily and weekly chart, that definitely is a long-term deal. And that means it can go up before it goes down because it's the long-term chart. All right, here's the Bitcoin dominance, guys. And this is what I wanted to show you, because if you remember correctly, oh, stop lagging. My internet's trying to be, I might have to free up some space on my computer. It always does that when I've got too much. All right. Look at this, guys. This is so pitiful. This is so pitiful. I can't. This is so pitiful. This is the Bitcoin dominance. Watch this. This is the Bitcoin dominance that's been forming for 3 years. This ascending wedge, right? And so this started in September of 2022. And we've been in this ascending wedge for 3 years now. 3 freaking years. And this is how much it's broken to the downside right here. Tried to break out over here in December 2024. We had a little bit of an altcoin run. But ladies and gentlemen, this pattern right here breaks to the downside. much more aggressively than this. This is pitiful looking. And if he thinks this is the altcoin season being over, I'm like flabbergasted. And I literally, listen, I am not, and you got to understand me, guys. You got to understand me that I'm not a professional trader. I'm not a professional chart reader. I'm just an amateur, if that. But even then, I look at that Bitcoin dominance and I know that we have not seen the altcoin run yet. And that's crazy to think. But for somebody to say that we've already, they believe we're at the end of the altcoin season, I'm scared for that person. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I do not want to listen to that anymore. Like that individual. I'm sorry. Like, I really was like wanting to anyway. So I'm going to get off that. And he seems like a decent dude. I just hope he's just having a bad day, because good night. That's a lot of people that could potentially. Okay, here's the thing. However, he's right about the bearish indicators, right? That, you know, there's going to be a break to the downside, 100%. However, we're not done. And especially with what Trump's building on the back end with XRP. We know that even prophetically with what Brandon Biggs is prophesying. So to recap, I believe we're going to see XRP go to $5, XLM go to 80 cents. I saw lower than that. I saw it in the 60-cent range in my dream. Never saw higher than that. So I'm not going to be pushing for those higher numbers. And we already told you guys, and even they told you, to be careful at those higher ranges, because nobody's going to catch the top and nobody's going to catch the bottom. So if you're trying to get maximum profits, you could screw yourself when you try to get greedy in these moves. Better to play it safe and grab the profits that you can grab rather than no profits because you stretched yourself too far, right? Too deep, whatever, too wide. And so remember my dream where I saw XRP go down to 62 cents, ironically. And however, there's absolutely no way I'm going to try to buy at that price point. And I also heard that Love Has a Name said that he saw XRP go to 45 cents. He said he got confirmation that it was going to go to 45 cents. Now remember Brandon Biggs' prophecy. He says when Ripple wins the court case, I saw XRP go to $5 just like that. And everybody thought that it was the court case from last year that he was talking about. But I brought up the consideration that no, it may have been the appeal case. Why? Because at the time he prophesied this, there was no other court case than that court case. And that got won last year. And we definitely didn't see XRP go to $5 just like that. However, I think we're about to, because now they just won, right? To me, that was the real win. I thank God for what happened last year. But this one, but it didn't move the market. Doesn't matter. I don't think it matters. I think it was just a timestamp. And in God's years, it's still very, very close. Very close. And I think that we're going to see this pump before the crash. Listen, take what I say and pray about it, because I do not want you to make your investments based upon what I believe. I want you to do it based upon what you believe. That's why you are to pray about everything that I say and make a decision to determine for yourself and to count the cost. What risk are you actually taking? Watch this, guys. For me, I'm going to tell you right now, it is 100% foolishness to many people to even sell XRP or XLM because I know a crash is coming. Because we also know that it's going to skyrocket. Do you know I had somebody send me a dream last night? No, I think he sent it to me today. I've had so many people sending me their dreams, and I never talk about them because I don't want to be that person. There's too much conversation can lead to confusion. And I want to keep everybody on a simpler plane. But this gentleman sent me a dream, and he said that he saw that the day that XRP would take off in price, and he said he saw like a news report that the first trillionaire now exists in the earth, and it's because of XRP. Yep, 100%. And so we know there's going to be some crazy movement with this, crazy movement. You know, there's even some XRP like fanatics that have social media channels that are nothing to do with the prophetic. They're even very worldly. And they also believe that the dollar is going to crash and that XRP is going to, which is really interesting because that's exactly what was prophesied. And so I want to talk about all this stuff really quickly as well, guys, that we're still going to see the things that have been prophesied. Remember the coming shaking, the economic collapse that Brandon Biggs has been seeing, housing market crisis. In fact, Secretary Bessent just released an announcement a couple of days ago where he said, and I shared it with you, that they are saying Trump will declare an emergency housing crisis within the next 2 months. And, you know, or May. And so, you know, hey, what about this? Did you guys hear that the United States bought their own debt? Did you guys hear about this? The United States of America purchased their own debt. And I saw articles where people were saying they're holding up our economy with a toothpick. That's what they're doing. They literally just injected a toothpick to prop up our freaking economy. Yep. Literally, how can you, and people in the comments section, I was reading it, and they were like, I don't think people really understand the magnitude and the weight of what's going on here. They said, do you realize that the interest alone is more than we can even manage? How can you buy your own debt? That's right. And people are living under a rock, and they don't believe Japan is at the tipping point right now with the bond market. And so, you know, and hello, and by the way, the prophets prophesied this will be a global economic shaking, guys. Global. Oh, guys, listen, I'm going to tell you, listen, I don't want to trash people by name. I really don't. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you follow Dave Ramsey, unfollow this man. I think he was good for once upon a time, but I think he's harming people now with the stuff that he's teaching. He says, one lady, she was asking about crypto, and he was like, crypto? Are you kidding me right now? He's like, you know how volatile that is? He said, you'd be better off, and he was just cracking on it so hard. Then he said, somebody said about the economy crashing and buying up gold. He said, gold? He said, are you kidding me? He's like, he said, if the US dollar crashes, he says, you're not going to need gold. You're going to need guns and, what did he say? Guns. And it was so stupid. He says, do you realize every company that you know of that exists today would be wiped off the planet just like that? And I know. And I was like, oh no, like, don't, please just stop trying to do this anymore. Right. Okay. I'm, you're right. Okay. I'm not against guns, but at the expense of gold. No, you don't throw away gold, guys, and that's one of the reasons why I promoted the gold and silver place that I have in the link in the link for the description section below. If you guys, that's what he said, dude. That's what he said. That's what he said. It was bottles of water. It was bottled water and guns. Bottled water and guns. That's funny. Thank you. That was exactly what he said. And guys, I'm telling you, listen, by the way, I want to tell you something. Why did I share the gold and silver thing? Why have I been doing that? Because, guys, one of the things I love about this gold and silver place, listen to this. As a broke person, broke people probably won't do this, but lower income, fair enough. Definitely a mood issue at this point. So you're right. 100%. Hang on. We got some craziness going on. Water will be worth something in the future. Profit talk issues in water. There's going to be, there 100%. There's going to be issues with water. 100%. And that's why we had a well dug on our property, guys. For sure. We had a well dug on our property when we started hearing these prophetic words, because, and it was actually because of crypto that we were able to do it. And, when I was doing crypto before, the prophetic stuff, actually. But here's the thing. The gold and silver store that I have in the link in the description section below, you can buy little slivers, like little, what they call silver rounds, and little slivers or bars, but small bars, that in small dollar increments. Oh, I love that stuff. Why? You'll definitely save money if you buy like a big gigantic bar, right? Because you're always going to pay less per, weight when you buy it in bigger quantity. However, to be able to have some little tradable slivers that are already, formed and pressed and minted and all these different things, like you'll be able to trade a little silver round, for 10 chickens or something like this, right? Like that's my point. And that was one of the reasons why I was so turned on to this company as well. If you guys ever want to promote it, the commissions stink. And the reason is because they have such good prices. There's no profit margin. There is, but it's very slim. And I don't care. Like, I'm not in it for that. I like to get paid when I share things. Obviously, if I'm going to be sharing them, I don't mind looking for things that will incentivize me for sharing it. But if it comes down to giving people the best thing for them, I'm willing to forfeit, right? And that's why I love this company, because I don't make much of anything, but I just feel so excited about it because I've never been able to beat their prices. And so anyhow, hilarious. All right. So anyway, guys, and of course the prophets have been saying that the precious metals are going to be going up too. And of course, historically during the time of the Great Depression, precious metals increased in price as well. So, it's going to always retain its value. It's not going to be like the dollar that will crash. It can fluctuate and it can go up and down, but it's not going to lose its value like the dollar. And we're changing anyway out of the dollar. And that's one of the reasons why these markets are crashing. Apostle Giles prophesied that that the coming financial shaking is like it's like I can't remember what he said, like every 100 years, like everything changes, right? Every 100 years, everything changes. And it's true. Like we had like this big technology era that we've, come out of over the past 100 years, like vehicles and, everything started like 1920. Now it's 2020. And now we're getting into, flying vehicles, and things like that, right. So anyhow, guys, please remember, I'm going to pretty much close the broadcast off in a moment. I'm going to recap quickly. Subscribe to these two channels, guys, because if you don't want to miss the content in the coming days, please, please, please subscribe to these channels. The other thing is, the how to write emails using AI. I built a free course below. Find that, get in on it. And I even have an opportunity in there if you want to use that skill set to make money. The other thing is XRP. I believe we're going to see it go to $5 because of what Brandon prophesied. It still hasn't happened yet, but I believe he saw $5 for a reason, because I think that's when it's going to crash. Oh, that's what I forgot to say. If you remember his prophecy, when it goes to $5, he also said, so when you see it go to 45 cents, it's when we need to pray over it. God showed me that that when 240 would turn into 140 and inevitably end up going down to what I saw of 62 cents as the bottom. Love Has a Name saw 45 and even lower, I think. However, whatever, I know it's going to go down in that range. Splitting hairs is not my thing. And so the emphasis is the summary, right? The general consensus of that, kind of like the XLM, where Ryan shared 67 cents, David Williams shared 80 cents, etc., right? It's the range. We're not splitting hairs. It's a positive, those things are going to happen. But watch this. When Brandon said you're going to see it go to $5 just like that when the case is won, well, it just got won. I believe he was talking about the appeal. I really, really do. And I believe it's going to go to $5 just like that. But then I believe we're going to see it crash. I'm just telling you. And I believe it's also going to happen coincidentally because potentially of the timeline of these great exposures that are going to be coming in the coming months. Okay, when is the beginning of fall? I think the end of this month. When is the beginning of fall?
In the Northern Hemisphere.
Yeah, September 22nd. So remember, I think it's going to go to $5 XRP and then crash. We're going to see it. We're going to be able to buy. God showed me like the $1.40 range, but it's going to go to 62 cents. You guys are like, what's up? What's that about? Whatever. Do what you want to do. Take all the risk you want to take. Okay. but watch this. In that dream, in those series of dreams, he showed me it was going to come back up to 250. It was going to come back up to 250. That's what he said. He showed me it's going to go down and it's going to come back up, and I saw it hold at 250. Now, why is that important? Well, for all the people that are wanting XRP to go to $90,000 today, well, that's going to be a little disappointing because we're not following mammon. We're not following, money. We're not following even XRP. We're following Jesus. And the Spirit of the Lord is showing details, and he's giving strategic insights in this season to be able to put food on the table for people that are coming. Also, I also believe we're going to see it spike and take off after the crash, which will potentially be the latter part of this year. However, more importantly, I was on a prophetic live the other night, 2 nights ago, and the prophet specifically said, for those who are coming into money the fourth quarter of this year, basically, he says, do yourselves a favor. Do not go all out and have a lavish Christmas. Do not go out and spend it all. He says, because I see in the turn of the year, in the beginning of next year, there's going to be investment opportunities for you. Hear what I'm telling you. So keep that in mind, guys, because some people, in fact, I think it was Sayray earlier, she had said, BitBoy Ben is a perfect example of how money quickly gained can destroy you. If you're an alcoholic, a truckload of money enhances alcoholism. If you're disciplined and generous, money enhances that. Be wise, family. Do you understand? So I'm bringing this comment back up because now is the time that this needs to be displayed. 100%, guys. You need to understand this. So, oh yeah? Ruh-roh. Wow, wow, wow. That's exactly right. Money is an amplifier of what you are. 100%. 100%. 100%. Dustin, are you flying down to Florida anytime soon? You need to come down here. But anyhow, I'm just saying to you guys, to be wise, please don't be silly. So many people are going to be like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting for this to hit so I can go buy my Bentley. Listen, I'm just saying, like, okay, praise God. Are you actually coming to my area? Or is this one of those things where we're going to be so close, but yet so far? But anyhow, but seriously, guys, like, it's very important. That's about 2.5 hours away. What are you going for? Just message me, will you? Just message me in the private community. So, but that's interesting. Let's connect, because it's interesting that I just asked that and that you're actually going to be within proximity. So I definitely think that's very interesting. I 100%, we need to sow into that, connect, make that happen. So here's the deal. Be wise, because if you put your money that you make to work for you, it will make more money. And this is what I want to teach people in these coming days. and make sure that people become good stewards of what God entrusts them with, because the dumb thing to do is to spend it. The wise thing to do is to put it to work, that your dollars begin to make more dollars. Then you're living off of dividends rather than tapping into the nest egg, right? Okay, that being said, I'm going to tune off, guys, but remember, these are the moves that I believe we're going to see. XRP to $5, crash. It's going to go down as low as potentially 62 cents is what I saw the bottom was specifically. Money on the move saw 45 cents and even lower. But then we would be able to buy just over $1 is what a gentleman's told me in my, he says he tried to catch it when it was below $1, and as fast as he got in, he by the time he bought, it was over $1 is what he said. And I said, well, my gosh, there's no wonder why God gave me the specific price point of what he gave me, because, you know, you just can't make this stuff up. And so anyway, it's going to crash and then it's going to come back up to 250. So if you are able to get out, oh, by the way, don't try to buy $5. Remember, that's the top. Potentially, if you're going off of what I'm describing that I saw, okay? Which again needs to be subject to interpretation, prayer, blah, blah, blah. Determine if it's the Chinese food I had for dinner last night or if it's even God, right? So that's what I believe we're going to see. And then it's like I said, it's going to come back up to 250. So, man, you'll be doing so well if you actually are able to grab some profits now. And I'm doing the XLM run right now just because. And so because there'll be a potentially a higher profit margin. And so, but if you were to do XRP, I would not set your sell orders at $5 or 504, which is what I saw. No way. I would get out, you know, I mean, I don't know. Think of the percentage, 480, 450, you know, like 425. I don't know, but, you know, and so because if you understand that you're going to profit there, create your sell order and make sure it's a successful sale, meaning it's got to be lower than that peak high because you'll never get out if you try to set it too high. And then you'll be able to grab those profits and reinvest them on the crash. You will be so set. And then it will come back up to 250, meaning let's just say you bought at $1.45. Okay. So 250 minus $1.45 is $1.05 profit. So $1.05 divided by 145. Is that right? It's a 72% profit. A 72% profit. That's only when you buy the dip. You're also profiting when you buy this rise, you know, before it drops. So, but down there, when it comes back up to 250, like the Lord showed, but I don't know how long that it will take to get it back up to 250. But remember, Brandon said we need to pray when it's at 45 cents. And if that's what he's talking about, I'm just throwing that out there as a consideration. I don't know. According to Money on the Move, it sure sounds like it because of what he saw when he saw 45 cents for sure and then lower. And so Brandon said when it goes to 45 cents, we need to pray over it. So when God says it's going to come back up to 250, how long? I don't know. And so you may not have 72% profit if you need to tap into some of it before it rises. You know what I mean? However, I imagine, but remember, I think it's going to be quick, guys. At least coming back up to the, you know, $1.50 range for sure, because probably $1.40. I think it might stay at $1.40 for a bit before it rises back up to 250. I don't know. But I'm just sharing that with you as kind of a caution, because that's the part I don't have clarity on. It's the timeline. The Lord showed me it would come back up to 250. And we know it's going to take off beyond that. But when? And that's my point. Like, how long is it going to take to go from the dip or the crash, really, to 250? And then how long is it going to take to go from 250 to the, he did. We've already been talking about that. You'll have to go back and watch the replay. He did say that. He did 100%. But I'll just share with you really quickly. He said that when they won the court case, that it would go to $5 just like that. We haven't seen that. And then there was a completely different court case, which was the appeal, which just happened, which I believe is what he was actually seeing. And now I think we're going to see it go to $5 just like that. And then I said that the $5, I believe, was a price point where I believe we're going to see it crash, because that's exactly what I saw in my dream. 504 was the highest number that I've seen XRP ever in my dreams, ever. And that's important, because for those people who say that I only dream because I'm infatuated with XRP, you got to be kidding me. If they were soulish dreams, I'd be seeing $100,000 per XRP. You know what I mean? And so God has been strategically leading me. Strategically. And even one of your guys's famous gurus that you follow for crypto insights, prophetic crypto insights, his prophetic mentor had a dream about me that God was giving me, not just the bigger picture concerning what he's doing, but even the moves in between. And so that was the Lord honoring me for what he's doing. That's important, by the way, because it's encouraging when you're following the voice of the Lord and then everything else begins to happen that seems to contradict what God is saying. It causes you to really anchor in and to trust what the Lord is showing you. I promise you, people who do not share prophetic insights truly have no idea what it means to steward the word of the Lord 100% publicly. It's a completely different thing. Whatever people do in the Spirit of God, because prophets, deliverance ministers, all of them, like, anybody who flows in the supernatural, you have to steward that, and you will go through some stuff. And it always seems to happen through people, interestingly enough. All right, guys, I'm going to jump off here. Appreciate you guys being on, but that's the update. That's the prophetic insight. But I'm telling you guys, we are in the month of September, and I'm also telling you we're this is it. The prophet prophesied over me that this was a very strategic month, and I think we're going to see the things that I've been saying since the end of April, beginning of March, happen potentially this month, at least the first part of it. You're welcome. God bless you all. Do not forget to subscribe to both of these channels, guys. Heaven's News Broadcast and My DeFi Guru. Okay? Whatever channel you're on, make sure you subscribe and then go find the other one and subscribe, because like I said, on the My DeFi Guru, I will throw out crypto stuff that has nothing to do with the prophetic, different things. Actually, I shared a in my I don't even think I put it on the DeFi Guru, but there's a KYC free crypto card that I shared. Some people like to get into those, and I ended up sharing it, and it's very inexpensive actually. However, it's one of those things where you want to be wise with it because it's instant load, and you want to be sure that you load it when you need it and don't put large amounts on it. You know, unless you've tested it recently to make sure it's still working properly. And so it's just one of those things that's a little bit higher risk because of what it is. But some people, you know, like that. And so it's out there. Guys, that's it. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. I'm going to jump off here, and I'll see you on the next live stream. Take care. God bless.